notice how some people just always seem to get their way?
Yeah.
Like that coworker who,
Yeah.
somehow gets the best projects, or that friend who can talk you into doing just about anything.
Right.
Maybe it's charisma, maybe it's just like, I don't know, luck.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, just maybe, there's a little more to it, a little strategy.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving into the world of manipulation.
Yeah.
We're going to uncover those tactics that make these master persuaders tick.
And you're right to say, like, uncovering,
Yeah.
that's what we're doing, because our source material,
Okay.
this PDF, How to Manipulate Anyone, it doesn't mess around. It's very blunt about the tactics it describes.
Keep it forward.
It's almost comical
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah, it's like this how-to manual, right? You don't want to leave this one just lying around for anybody.
Well,
But that's what makes it so fascinating.
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So by understanding these tactics, we can better spot them in real life.
Absolutely.
So we can arm ourselves
Yeah.
against them.
It's like self-defense, but for your mind.
Oh, I like that.
Okay. So where do we even begin?
Well, the source dives right in, and this first one's called the less to more technique.
Okay.
Sounds pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah, deceptively so.
Okay.
It's about getting someone to agree to something small.
Okay.
Like, so small it doesn't even seem like anything.
Right.
And then gradually increasing what you're asking for.
Okay.
Classic foot in the door technique.
So, like, my neighbor asks me to, like, water their plants while they're gone. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And then the next thing you know, I'm mowing the lawn, I'm bringing in the mail.
Exactly.
I'm feeding their hamster, Mr. Nibbles.
And it works.
I'm like the house sitter.
Yes. And it works because of consistency bias.
Oh, here we go.
Our brains crave consistency.
Right.
So once we've said yes to one thing, we want to keep saying yes to maintain that feeling of consistency, even if the requests get bigger than what we originally said yes to.
It's like our brain is playing tricks on us.
It is. In a way, it is.
Making us more susceptible to this manipulation.
Yeah, but being aware of those biases,
It's okay.
that's how we can start to recognize it.
Okay, so knowledge is power.
Yes.
What's next on our, like, manipulation hit list here?
All right, let's talk about the disappointment technique.
Ooh.
And it plays on expectations.
Okay.
So imagine someone hits you with just this outrageous request.
Okay, so my friend asks me to, like, donate all my savings to their alpaca farms startup.
Precisely. Something like that.
Okay.
You'd say no, right?
Of course, yeah.
But then they come back with a much smaller ask,
Okay.
like to borrow your lawnmower.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to the alpaca farm.
Yeah.
Lending out the lawnmower, no big deal.
Yeah, sure. Take it. It's all about setting the bar, like, ridiculously high.
Yes.
So then anything else seems reasonable.
Exactly.
I never thought about it like that.
It's called anchoring expectations. You get that first outrageous anchor
Okay.
that shifts how you see everything after that.
Huh. It's amazing to me how these tactics play on our psychology without us realizing it.
That's the point, right?
Right. Okay. So, what's next? I hope it's not as bad as that last one.
Well, this next one, it's a little,
Okay.
let's just say it's not for the faint of heart.
Okay.
It's called the reinforced negative technique.
Oh. Okay.
This one's a little intense.
All right. I'm a little nervous.
So it's basically suggesting that you would highlight someone's negative traits
Okay.
to undermine them.
Okay.
So whether they're real or just things you made up,
Okay.
you're really pushing those negative traits.
So, like, just classic, like, spreading rumors.
Yeah, basically.
Gossip.
Yeah, exactly.
To make somebody look bad.
So you're just emphasizing those flaws
Right.
constantly. Yeah. And you're creating this negative impression of them in other people's minds.
Oh.
So they don't trust them.
Okay.
They don't support them.
So it's like very competitive.
Very like politics, even in your workplace.
Yeah.
You might see it.
That's just wrong.
It's not nice.
But knowing about it, I guess, that's half the battle.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what's next?
Okay, so this next tactic
All right.
is called the name technique.
Here?
And it's all about the power of language.
Okay. The name technique.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's all about, like, putting a positive spin
Yeah.
on something that's maybe not so positive.
Yeah.
Like, we see that all the time, right?
Right.
Like calling a used car pre-owned.
Exactly.
Or something's vintage instead of just old.
Yeah. Like, oh, that's so much better.
Exactly. That's exactly what this is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just changing the label
Okay.
that you put on something.
Okay.
And it can change people's perceptions of it.
Mm.
So criticism becomes feedback.
Right.
Same thing.
Right.
Sounds a little nicer, though, right?
And it softens the blow a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing how powerful language is.
It's like mental judo or something.
Yeah.
You know, like using the weight of words to your advantage.
Exactly. And that leads us to another one that plays on perception.
Okay.
The expectation technique.
Okay.
This one's a little counterintuitive,
Okay.
so stick with me.
Okay.
Sometimes downplaying your achievements
Okay.
can actually make you seem more impressive.
How does that work?
So, like...
That's like the opposite of what you'd think to do.
Right. But think about it.
Okay.
You set low expectations.
Okay.
You have all this opportunity to over-deliver then.
Okay.
So let's say you're starting a new job, right?
Okay.
If you go in and you're like, I'm amazing at everything. I'm the best.
Yeah, you're setting the bar high.
You're setting the bar high.
Yeah.
But if you're like, well, you know, I'm still learning.
Right.
I'm new to this.
Right.
People are going to be that much more impressed when you do well.
So it's like you exceed expectations.
Exactly.
They're not expecting a lot, and then you're like, boom.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about managing those perceptions.
Ah, interesting.
So you make a good impression.
Okay.
And speaking of positive impressions, that leads us to the commonality technique.
Okay, this one sounds a little bit more human.
A little bit.
This is something that we all kind of do, right?
I think so, yeah.
We try to find common ground,
Yeah.
especially when we first meet somebody.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, it's like human instinct.
Yeah.
We're social creatures. We want to connect.
We're all connected.
We're all connected, exactly.
Yeah.
So this technique uses that
Okay.
to its advantage.
Hmm.
So emphasizing those shared interests,
Okay.
even if you're stretching them a little bit,
Hmm.
you create rapport.
Okay.
You build trust that way.
Right. Like, oh my God, you like that obscure band. I
Right.
love them.
Exactly. We're like best friends now.
Exactly. And the source even says,
Okay.
don't be afraid to exaggerate a little bit.
Right. Even if it's just you both hate the same reality TV show.
Yeah, I get that. You have something in common.
Exactly.
Right.
You've made that connection.
Right.
And they're going to be more open to you.
It's making me think about all these different ways that, like, we're
Yeah.
constantly, like,
Yeah.
trying to influence each other
It happens all the time.
subconsciously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether we realize it or not.
Wow. But we've been talking about these tactics just kind of in theory.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how do they actually work in the real world?
That's where the source gets really interesting.
Okay.
It uses all these examples
Okay.
from like politics to marketing, even just like
Okay.
everyday conversations.
Like, give us the good stuff. What are some of these examples?
Okay, well, this one's a little different, but
Okay.
the source talks about Belén Esteban,
Okay.
who's this like huge celebrity in Spain.
Okay.
And she got famous in a very, let's say, unconventional way.
Okay.
It wasn't through a movie or anything,
Yeah.
more like reality TV, personal life stuff.
Okay.
But she presented herself in this very specific way,
Right.
emphasized all the right things.
Okay.
And it totally changed her image.
Hmm.
She became like beloved.
It's like, so manipulation can be used for good.
Right, exactly.
But it's not always like a bad thing.
And it just shows how powerful it can be.
Right.
Especially with the media.
Right. Because we see this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with celebrities, politicians.
Yeah.
They're very careful about how they present themselves.
Yeah.
So you never know what's real, what's not.
Exactly. And that's why it's important to be aware of it.
Right.
Once you understand the game, you can see it.
Okay. So what's another example?
Another one, and I think this one hits home for a lot of people.
Okay.
The source talks about how the fear of terrorism
Right.
can be used to influence decisions.
Oh, yeah. Like political decisions, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like when we're afraid, it's easy to make decisions that maybe we wouldn't otherwise.
Right, because we're scared.
Exactly.
So we're not thinking straight.
Right. And we want someone to tell us, this is what you do.
Fix it.
This is how you're safe. Exactly.
Right. Okay, so this is all a bit overwhelming.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. So how do we protect ourselves from being manipulated?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And luckily, the source has some answers.
Okay, good. So what's the secret weapon?
Critical thinking.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Don't just accept things, right? Question everything.
Yep.
If something makes you feel weird,
Okay.
like you're not really thinking straight,
Right.
that's a red flag.
Oh, like if it sounds too good to be true.
Exactly.
It probably is.
Yeah, and get
Yeah.
different perspectives.
Okay.
Don't just, like, listen to one person.
Right. I've seen
Especially if
it.
they're trying to convince you of something.
So do your own research.
Yeah.
Talk to other people.
Yeah, get the full story.
Get the full story.
And don't be afraid to say no.
Ah.
I know. The source is all about getting people to say yes.
Yeah.
But you can say no.
Right.
You can walk away.
It's true.
You can say, I need a minute to think about it.
That reminds me of, like, those high-pressure sales tactics.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
Totally.
they're trying to pressure you,
Yeah.
create a sense of urgency.
Oh, there's like only 2 left.
Yes.
You got to get it now.
Exactly. It's like those infomercials. But wait, there's more.
Because
You call right now.
It's playing on that fear
Right.
that you're going to miss out.
Yeah, totally.
So
Yeah.
take a deep breath.
Okay.
You're in control.
Right.
You have the power to walk away.
This has been really eye-opening.
It is fascinating stuff.
It's like we've peeked behind the curtain
Yes.
of, like, the wizard of manipulation.
Exactly.
And we've seen how they do it.
And, you know, it's not always with bad intention.
Right.
Sometimes people are doing this without realizing it.
Right.
Or even thinking they're helping.
Yeah.
But it's still good to know what's going on.
It's not about good guys and bad guys. It's just understanding, like, what's happening here.
Exactly. And ultimately, I think the takeaway is knowledge is power.
Right.
You know, these tactics, you can spot them.
Yeah.
You can make better decisions.
Right.
You're not going to be pushed around.
Yeah. It's like we've got this secret decoder ring now for, like, understanding how people work.
Yeah. So next time you meet one of these master manipulators out in the wild,
Right.
remember what we talked about.
Ask questions.
Yes. Trust your gut.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to walk away.
Love it. Well, on that note, I think that wraps up our deep dive into the world of manipulation.
Fascinating stuff.
Listeners, remember, knowledge is power.
It is.
Use it wisely.